Okay, everyone hear me okay? Cool. Okay, so welcome to day 2 of Iconic as Fuck. I'm so happy to have you all back here. I know a lot of you are watching the replay, and I'm just so grateful that you're all giving yourself this time for yourself, right? That you are carving it out of your day, of your diary, and you are investing in yourself, because investment isn't always about money, it's about time as well, and making sure that we set that aside to give us the things that we need, to give us the tools that we need in order to get to our next level of expansion. So I just want to say, absolutely amazing for all of you for showing up live as well, because that says a lot. That says a lot about you and your character and your belief in yourself and your determination to succeed and to expand and to grow and to move. So I just really want to pay respect to everyone that is here live, as well as watching the replay, but even more so if you're live. Okay, so yesterday we went through all of the things that I had to release in order to really allow in. Okay, so we all have, baggage, we all have limiting beliefs, we all have things that we pick up along the way that just aren't ours to carry. And we just end up taking them on as our own, not really even realizing it until someone kind of points it out, right? Like we said yesterday, you can't Google your own blind spot. So it's not until someone kind of points it out and you're like, oh yeah, that wasn't even really me. I don't even know why I did that, because we're just on autopilot so much of the time, right? So yesterday was all about releasing that crap that is not serving us, that isn't ours to carry in the first place, so that we make space for the new, because we cannot add new stuff and just layer it, right? We can't layer it on old stuff and just think that that's going to be okay, because the old stuff is always going to seep to the top at some point. So we need to release it so that that's not going to come creeping back out, and so that we're basically starting a whole clean slate with what we want to embody moving forwards. So please don't brush over the releases, and make sure that you do work through them, and that you kind of give yourself some journaling, give yourself some accountability, get in a mentor, whatever, but make sure that you are releasing those things properly before you start implementing the new codes. Okay, so I've got tea and I've got water, because my throat kind of feels like it's starting to go, so I might be having a few sippy breaks. I went to an event today where we were talking for about 3 hours, and believe it or not, I'm not used to it. So I want to take you back to early December of last year. So 2023, early December. I had got very hot. I had started talking to a friend of mine, Jane, who I know, Deirdre, you know, and we were like, okay, we want to create a mastermind. Something that I've always wanted to do, something on my radar, something that I'm really passionate about. And Jane is a very akin energy to mine. We were like, why don't we do it together? So we started thinking about launching this new mastermind, not something either of us had launched before, okay? And so I was still on my old account at that time. And this was the moment that I talked about yesterday, where I had one foot in both, right? And I hadn't fully released. And I kind of thought, well, there's 7,000 people, right? Surely some of those are gonna want to be in my mastermind. Like, I mean, who wouldn't, right? Like, some of them are going to want to be in. And so we started launching in late November, early December. And we had like the whole kind of, launch strategy in place, and the energy was there. The energy was not amiss. We were like fully in it, fully hyped up about it. And straight away, Deirdre, who I know is on the live today, was like, yes, I'm in. And I was like, yes, I knew someone was going to be like straight away, because I had such a good feeling about it, right? I was so lit up by it. And then it kind of went quiet, and it was Christmas, and it's kind of like, okay, maybe we just need to get Christmas out of the way, and we start making excuses, right? And then it was New Year, and it's like, okay, maybe we need to wait till after New Year. No one's like back in work mode yet, so like, let's just wait till January. And then it was early January, and we were meant to be launching originally on, I think it was like the 3rd of January. And me and Jane were like, I've got one person. Like, what do we do? And we were like, okay, why don't we stretch it? I think we stretched it to, Deirdre, I can't even remember. I think it was like a couple of weeks after or something. But we were like, let's just give it a bit more time, right? Let's give it a little bit more time. And so we gave it like another week or so. Silence. And at that moment, we had to make a decision. Do we run with one person, one amazing person, Deirdre, we love you, or do we stop, right? Do we say, you know, like there hasn't been the uptake or whatever, like refund and, you know, or credit into the next one and just kind of call it a day at that? And that was a real pivotal moment for me, because the past me, well, firstly, I probably would have given up before that point. I wouldn't have even got to the actual launch date, because I would have given up when it went quiet in that period after one person had signed up and then nothing. And as we're getting closer and closer to the launch date, you're getting stressed and stressed and stressed, and you're getting desperate, and that energy starts leaking, and people start feeling that, even though you don't think that you're showing that, they start feeling that because it's there. If you're feeling it, it's there. That is what it is. You know, you can't escape from that. The only thing that you can do is not be in that mindset in the first place. And so when we got to this point, we had to have a deep talk, right? And we had to dive deep. And it was scary. It was scary because in that moment, again, my mind went to, well, firstly, why doesn't anyone like me? Why doesn't anyone want to be in my mastermind? Like, I have seen other people fill up masterminds who are nowhere near like as fucking epic as me, right? And I'm going to say that because that's how I felt. That's how I felt. And that is valid. And again, I just want to reiterate, that's not ego. That is self-power. I know what I bring to the table. I don't have to minimize that. And so that was my first thought. And then the second thought was, how are we going to talk about this for the next 3 months? It's a 3-month container, knowing that there's only one person in it, you know, when you're doing like video snips or you're talking about it and stuff. And I had to sit with this. Jane was fine. She's like, let's do it. And I was like, you know, I'm trying to be an authority here. I'm trying to be a leader. Like, what are people going to think when they see that I have only got one person in my mastermind? Like, they're going to start thinking, who the fuck is she? She doesn't know what she's talking about. Why would I even listen to her, let alone pay her? This was what was happening to me. And so I dug deep. I leant into my mentor. And she said to me in that time, she said, this right here is leadership. This right here is leadership, showing that you lead yourself through that process. You've got through the launch, you've done it, you didn't give up, you didn't stop posting on days, you didn't stop showing up. I still showed up 100%. Even if the leaks were there, I still showed up. So I've led myself through that. And it's now, can you lead yourself for another 3 months, knowing full well that that one amazing person in the mastermind is going to have like such a huge transformation. And so I had to sit with that. And I said, do you know what? Yeah, let's fucking do it. Because actually, that right there is part of my story, right? It's part of my story, talking to you guys now, saying, I don't always have things sell out. I've launched courses with no people buying. I've had crickets. I've had failures. I've burnt businesses to the ground. I've gone through all of that. And yes, there have been moments where I have questioned and I have had to dig deep, but I have led myself through and I have been stronger for it. And I've become more of a leader because of it, because of what I've learned through those processes, through leading myself, through those hard moments, through those lessons. And so when I said, or when we decided, okay, let's just fucking fly with it. Okay, let's just do it. Let's just do it. That was the time when I decided to cut to switch to Instagram for good. And I was like, do you know what? If we're doing this, like I may as well just like make a day and just go all in, right? Just like, what am I waiting for? And so this was all like coinciding around the same time. And so when I started the new Instagram, I had to switch that energy. I'm just going to get the chat up so I don't miss anything there. I had to switch that energy from, I've only got one person in my mastermind, to, I fucking got one person in my mastermind. Like, that's amazing, right? That's amazing. And Deirdre, we love you. Like, you're absolutely killing it. But it's that switch of perception, okay? And it's me knowing, again, like we spoke about yesterday, that any tangibles do not equate to my level of success. They do not equate to my level of leadership, to my level of authority, to everything that I have been through, to my journey, to my story, to everything that I know that I have learned to date. One launch of a mastermind, one launch of a course, one launch of a masterclass, whatever it might be, the tangible results are irrelevant to who you are. They might not be what you want, but they are irrelevant to who you are. So we have to own that power, like we were saying yesterday, and not give it away to anything or anyone, because as soon as we do that, when it doesn't happen, that's when the shit hits the fan, right? And that's why I struggled with that, because back end of last year in my corporate business, we had 100K day. And I was like, oh my God, freaking amazing. Like, you know, I'm flying, and I gave my power away to that figure. I'd given my power away to it. I'd made it mean something about me. But was I any more of a person or less of a person the day before or the day after? No, I was exactly the same me. I was still doing exactly the same things. I was still bringing exactly the same energy to the table. So we have to release the tangibles. I know, sorry, I've got on a bit of a digression to releasing again, but I really wanted to bring that in to the pivot point of when I went all in to the new Instagram. Okay. And so this is where things started to shift. And I will tell you now, I'm looking through my list, hardly any of this was consciously done. Like, I wasn't meaning to do any of this. It was just through the transformation in the energy and in my perception and in my self-belief of who I wanted to be in this new arena, if you like, in this new space that I was cultivating and creating, that this stuff started to happen. So as we go through it, I'll tell you the things that I consciously decided to do, and then the things that I have looked back on and I see that I did, right? Because it's just good to know. But for you guys, you get the benefit of obviously knowing it all first now, right? Like, you don't have to like trial and error it. Like, I'm going to tell you everything that made a change in how this new space then blew up. And what I mean, and I said this yesterday, what I mean by blowing up is that my audience, no, it's not big. You know, again, we spoke about this yesterday. It's not big. It's like, I don't know, 400 followers, something like that. But they are all aligned as fuck. Do they like all my stuff? Sometimes. Do they comment? Sometimes. Not really very much, but they engage in my DMs. And they sign up to my masterclasses. And they work with me one-to-one. That's what matters, right? None of the other stuff. The other stuff doesn't matter. And so this is what I mean by blowing up, by actually having an aligned audience that want to hear what you have to say. It doesn't matter how many it is, because I would rather be in a room of 10 people who are hanging on my every word than 100 people who couldn't give a fuck, right? So let's dive into it. Okay. So first one is going to be commitment. Okay. So commitment to who I wanted to be. Commitment to who I wanted to be in this new space. Not falling back into the old habits, the old scenarios of scrolling for inspiration, of filtering my words, of not swearing, of all of this stuff. So commitment to who I now wanted to be, and owning that and showing up every single day. Every single day. Now, there's a lot of hype in the industry around business being easy, right? It doesn't have to be hard. We don't have to get burnt out. We don't like hustle culture. And I am absolutely an advocate of that. But there is a difference between easy and ease. Business is not easy, okay? It's not easy. It is going to take resilience. It is going to take grit. It is going to take courage. It is going to take investment. It is going to take bravery. It is going to take all of these things that we're talking about. It is going to take you picking yourself back up time and time and time again, just like I've had to, when we don't get the results that we desire. It's not easy, but it can be in ease. And what that means is there's no resistance, right? We're not forcing it, like we said yesterday. It's in alignment with what we want to do. If you're burnt out, I'll tell you now, you're not in alignment with what you're here to do. If you're hustling, it's because you are in the energy of desperation for tangible results. If you are grinding, it's because you don't trust that when you take your foot off the gas, that everything won't fall apart. So business is not easy, but it can 100% be in ease and flow. So commitment to showing up every single day is what it is, right? Can you do that? Can you do that? 10 minutes a day, if that? Showing up on your stories. You don't have to be high vibe all the time. Be you. Be you. If you're having a down day, show a down day. If you're having a vulnerable moment, show a vulnerable moment. If you're having an inner conflict, talk about it. Because this is leadership. Sharing all of that. And there are far too many people in the industry that feel like they can only talk about the successes. They can only talk about the highs. And they don't share the full picture. And that's just misleading for people, right? It's our duty to show our clients what it really takes. Not just the good bits. That's why I shared that story with you about the mastermind, because a lot of leaders wouldn't do that, right? They would be scared. Their ego would get in the way. But for me, I want to be transparent about what it actually takes and what you will have to go through. You will have to go through months where you have 0 sales. You will have to go through periods where it's not working. How much can you commit to yourself during those times and still bring the same energy? Not the energy of desperation, still bring the same energy. So commitment is your number one. Showing up for you every single day. But it's Sunday, I don't care. Every single day, fucking 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 1 minute, do a 1 minute video on your story. If you can't do 1 minute because it's a Sunday, then I'm sorry, but you will not last long term. 1 minute. Doesn't always have to be like, you know, this beautiful carousel and this branded post. You can show up just walking on Tower Bridge, right? Like I did earlier, on my way to something else. There are no excuses for not showing up. So commitment, number one. Number two, self-belief. Now, again, some of these will like tie in, right? Because the self-belief really stems from not seeing the results that you desire and still having full belief in yourself that that doesn't mean that that will be forever, right? That your past does not dictate your future. Just because that happened that time, it doesn't mean it will happen next time. You have to have that belief in yourself. Because otherwise, again, the energy that you're going to bring to the table is going to be like, oh, well, didn't work last time. And you'll give up earlier and earlier and earlier. And you'll never see a launch through until the end. And you'll start flaking out. And you'll start being really kind of complacent. with it, because you've already told yourself, well, I only got one person last time, so what's even the point? And that is not the energy to attract your dream clients, your dream audience. They want all of you and they deserve all of you. So bring all of you. Have that belief in yourself. In my opinion, whenever we have like a failed launch, again, I don't really believe in failure, it's just a lesson that we needed. It's because for you to get to your next level of expansion, you needed that story. You needed that to be able to help your people. If you hadn't experienced that, then you can't be the next level of leader that you want to be. So everything that we go through like that, think about the lesson, think about who you're becoming on the other side of that. Like for me, I led myself through that. I had never had that happen before. And I actually did the program, right? I actually launched the mastermind and we're in it. And it's freaking amazing, isn't it, Deirdre? And I wasn't that person before because I had never experienced that before. That is another lesson. It's another evolution that I can bring to the table, that I can help my clients with. Because as leaders, we have to lead ourselves first. I say this all the time. We have to lead ourselves first. We can't tell anyone else how to lead or show up if we don't walk the walk. So self-belief, which leads right into following through. Following through when we don't get those tangible results. In that moment, do you say, you know what, I'm going to give you a refund, there's only one person here, or like use it as a credit for a one-to-one or whatever? Or do you keep going? Do you see it through because you made the commitment to yourself and also to that one person or two people or three people or whatever it is? Just because it wasn't what you desired, that doesn't mean it's not what it should be. Maybe you're only meant to have that person or those few people right now. For whatever reason, right? Who knows? But maybe that's what's meant to happen right now. You have to follow through because that also enhances your self-belief. Because the more that you follow through, the more that you will believe in yourself because you know that you stick to your word. You know that when you say you're launching something, you are going to freaking launch it. You know that when you say you're going to do something, you are going to do it. There are no if, buts, or maybes because you have said it and your word is gold. Following through is an absolute must. An absolute must. You want to change the date a little bit? Go for it. But do not give up. Do not just write it off. Always follow through because that right there is leadership. It really is. And that will show in your energy and to your audience. And it will be a story that you tell, right? 6 months down the line, you'll say, you know, when I launched that, I only had one person. And people will be like, you are now. They'll be like, what? Like, you were still showing up like that when you had one person? What the hell are you going to show up like when you have 20 or 30 or 40? It's part of your story. So own it. Own it. Okay. Right, boundaries. Now this is a really important one. This was one that I consciously implemented. Okay. And this is a little bit out of social media. This is a little bit more in real life. Okay. So not everything that I changed was just in business, right? Some of it was in my real life because it's the same. If you're in alignment, if you're living in your purpose, there's no like work and life. It's just one. Like we just live in harmony, right? You mostly probably know I say fuck balance, harmony is what you want. So boundaries. Now I'm going to give you an example for what happened for me, how this happened. So back end of last year, I was actually running a free mastermind for a community that I had at the time. Now, Helen was, no, you weren't in the mastermind actually, but I knew Helen from that community. So I was running a free mastermind and it got to a point where I was giving so much of me, right? Of me, of my energy. And I had done it because I wanted to taste what it was like to run a mastermind. I wanted to like flex that muscle and to get some experience under my belt, right? And I think that's great. Like if you want to offer something that you haven't done before, do it for free. Like absolutely get that experience under your belt. And so it got to a point where I was like, this is amazing. Everyone's having breakthroughs. Like this is freaking fire. And I started to feel a little bit of resentment. I started to feel a bit of a resistance to showing up. And I was giving so much of myself. I was even giving them free workshops to the point where when I actually then said, this one's going to be paid, guys, they were like, what? And I was just like, okay, like this is not sitting right anymore. Okay. So I, again, lent into my mentor, right? And I talk about this so much because mentorship is really the thing that helped me transition to all of this. I would not have done it if it weren't for my mentor, Nick. So I spoke to her and I was like, I don't know what I should do. She said, you do know. And I said, okay, but I don't want to. And she said, well, you know, I can't make the decision for you. And I was like, oh, shit. Because that's what mentorship is. It's just shining the light on what we already know and holding ourselves accountable for doing what we know we should do, but we don't want to do, right? It really is that simple and that complex. So I had a conversation with my mastermind group and I said, look, guys, I'm going through some transitions at the moment. I'm stepping into another level of leadership, another level of expansion in my life and in my business. I'm launching my own mastermind, which was coinciding with that, the launch. And I said, it just isn't sitting right with me that I'm kind of charging people on one side and then not on another. Like it just isn't sitting right in my kind of morals and my values and who I am. It's just not. So I said, you know, I absolutely love you all, like you're all amazing, but I am going to step back from holding this space. Like if you guys want to carry on, absolutely, like, you know, go on, like crack on kind of thing, but I'm not going to be part of that in this leadership role. Now, I will tell you that was really fucking hard for me because of my past rejections, my past abandonment wounds, sister wounds, all of it. And exactly what I did think would happen did happen. They all projected their shit at me. And it got quite, not nasty, but it got a lot, right? And again, I had to lean in to my mentor. And what happened was probably about 3 days after I just had an epiphany. And I was just like, do you know what? These people don't respect my boundaries. That's what it is. They don't respect my boundaries. They're projecting their own shit at me. Again, like we talked about the pedestaling, right? What had happened is they were putting me on a pedestal because I had the audacity to charge money for what I do. And they didn't like that. And I called that out. And I said, look, don't pedestal me. Like that's not my problem. Like, you know, this isn't a me thing. These are my boundaries. You're absolutely welcome to come over to my paid mastermind if you want to. None of them did, needless to say. But I had to release that and I had to implement boundaries. From there on in, I did not give shit away for free. Other than like free masterclasses and stuff, but like, you know, long-term kind of help or support or coaching, mentorship, boundaries were put in place because I knew that the 7-figure version of myself did not host a free mastermind. That was the long and short of it. It just couldn't happen. If I needed to step into her, it couldn't come with me. So boundaries are really important. Think about what you're giving away, where you're giving it away, and does it align with where you want to go to? Like I said, if you need experience and you want to get some kind of testimonials and that kind of stuff, absolutely go for it. But that is not a long-term thing. So boundaries are really important. Okay, the next one is patience. This has been one of my favorites. I love this one. No, I'm joking, I really don't. But this was a hard one for me to implement because I used to live by the phrase of, I don't have patience. Like it was literally an identity of mine. It was something that I really truly believed I could not have because I just wasn't born with it. And I would flat outright say that to people. I was not born with patience. So obviously I had no patience, right? You know, manifesting that reality. But patience was something I had to learn when I started the new space. And every week when I went into my mastermind with my mentor, and I'd say, okay, what do I do now? Like, am I ready to launch something yet? Like, can I go yet? Can I go yet? Can I go yet? She's like, no. She's like, are your audience engaging with you yet? I'm like, no. Are they DMing you yet? No. Are they asking you what offers you've got yet? No. Well, then you need to sit back and continue to build your community and continue to keep showing up and continue to keep showing everyone what you've got and what you're about and what you're bringing to the table. So I can't sell anything? Nope. You're selling you. You're selling you. When you are trying to build a new audience, or if you're trying to revive an old audience, right? Or you're just starting a new space, you cannot go in like straight off the bat. You've got to warm up your audience. You've got to, this is why it's so important to be you, right? This is why it's so freaking important to be you, because that is going to keep them in your space to start with. If they don't even, I know I say this all the time, but if they don't even recognize you or remember you, they're not even going to hang around to see how freaking amazing you are. So you have to be you first and foremost. And you have to bring all of you to the table, even when we're not seeing those tangibles, even when we're not seeing the things that we want to see, we're not able to sell anything yet, you still have to bring it. Because why would people stay in your space if you're boring the fuck out of them? Or if you're just there whining, or, you know, whatever, like you need to give them something to stay for. So that was really hard for me. That was really hard for me, but so valuable. So valuable. Because then the first thing that I launch is this, and it sells out, right? It sells out. It's free. And do you know what I actually have to say about free masterclasses? Is I think it's even more fucking amazing if you sell out a free masterclass, because a lot of people don't value free things. And so they don't even bother. So if you can actually sell out a free masterclass when you're warming up your audience, that is going to give you the green light to start launching offers, to start going in with things that you want to create, right? Because we are creatives, we are artists, we want to like birth things into the world. So that's like your green light, that's your go right there. Like, yes, people want to be in my space, they want to hear what I've got to say, they want to learn from me, they want to absorb from me. So patience until you get the signs that your audience are hot for you. And you know that not by the likes, not by the followers, by the engagement in the DMs. Okay, engagement in the DMs. I wake up every morning with at least 5 DMs overnight, because most of you guys are in the States. so engagement in the DMs is your green light to then start launching, and starting with something like a free masterclass, right? To see then the kind of energy, the kind of tribe that you're attracting. And then you can really like get a feel for the energy. Is it aligned? Have you magnetized your dream clients? Is this the kind of people that you want to be working with? And you won't know that until you get them in your space. Okay, so patience is hard, but it is freaking invaluable, because we can't always be launching something. We have to warm up our audience. We have to wait till they're hot for us. Hot, hot, hot. Okay, right. Next one of my favorites, audacity. Yes. Who the fuck does she think she is? Audacity, I tell you now, has been one of the main things that I have really enjoyed, I have to say. I've really enjoyed embracing it and embodying it and just owning it, like I said earlier, because I know who I am. I know what I have to offer. I know what I bring to the table. And the fact that I can now have the audacity to say that without any like apologies or without any filtering or dimming it down, it's freaking amazing. And you know what? It is magnetic. It's also repellent. I will warn you. It is also repellent, but it's only going to repel the people that you wouldn't want to work with anyway. It's going to repel the people that don't like that energy. So why would you want to work with them in the first place? Because it will magnetize the people who love that about you, who love that confidence that you ooze. They want that. They want someone to give them that permission slip. So you have to go first, right? As the leader, you have to go first. So freaking own it. I'll just give you an example. So the event I was at today, there was a woman I was sat by and she did, what did she do? She did, I couldn't even tell you what she did, right? Bless her. But she did something. Anyway, she was talking about it, obviously in a very mundane way, or I would remember what she did. But she was talking about it. And then at the end, she was kind of like, so yeah, it sounds really amazing, and you know, it kind of is, but I don't mean it in that way. And I was just like, what are you doing, girl? like she was really minimizing how amazing whatever it is that she did is. And so I kind of left, one, not knowing what it was anyway, because she had kind of told it in a way that didn't make sense to me, let's say, okay? And then by minimizing it at the end, there was no confidence in herself. There was no authority in herself and what she had to offer. It was just kind of weird, right? And as like looking at it from a consumer perspective, if I was a client, I would just kind of be like, well, okay. So is this good or isn't this good? Or, you know, should I pay for this? Or are you telling me like it's not actually that great? Or, you know? So again, we need to own our gifts, right? And be audacious about it, because you deserve to be. You deserve to be. You deserve to be. And that ties in, okay, to delusion. Delulu? I want you to be fucking delusional about the possibilities for your life and your business and what is possible for you. Because our minds can't even perceive what is possible at the moment, because we are not yet that person. We cannot yet have that perspective, right? And this is why when we do the kind of vision work and we visualize our North Star and our big picture and all of this, like we have to go so deep into the feelings, because we can only imagine what we've experienced before, or what we know, what our brain knows, right? It can't perceive anything that it doesn't know. And so be delusional. Be fucking crazy. Sky is the limit. You know, like when the Wright brothers invented a plane, everyone around them thought they were crazy as hell until it flew. And then everyone was like, oh my God. Thomas Edison, when he invented the camera, he nearly got sectioned. His friends tried to get him sectioned because they thought he was so crazy about this idea that he had, until it became a reality. And now every person on the planet practically owns a camera of some sort. Elon Musk. Just all of these people had to be so delusional in their own dreams, in their own desires, in their own self-belief, right? I believe that I can be something incredible. I believe that to my core. Probably no one else around me believes that. I don't give a fuck because I believe it. I know it to be true. It is my truth. And that is what will make it a reality. You have got to be delusional. If you want to be crazy successful, you have got to be delusional. Because no one thinking in normal terms ever created something incredible. Be a little bit crazy. Embrace it. All the greats do. Okay, that takes me to intention. So intention is an interesting one. I kind of toyed with putting this in there, but it was my intention to make this page my truth. Okay, so it was my intention to bring all of me to the party in all of the ways that I desired. That was my intention. And this kind of ties into a few things that we've talked about, but it's having the intention of whatever it is, right? It doesn't have to be social media, but what is the intention of doing it? Whatever it is. What is your intention? What does it mean to you? Why is it important? What is it going to give you? Why is it so important that on the days where it feels hard and you're having a crappy day and the kids are crying and your husband's left the toilet seat up and it's raining and none of your clothes fit anymore, like what is the intention that is so important to you that you're still going to show up for whatever that is? Intention is actually everything, because if we don't have an intention, we don't have a purpose, we don't have a vision. What are we doing? We're just dabblers, right? I've been one of those. Dabble in a bit of that, dabble in a bit of this. And there's never that full intention. It's like I was talking about on the Telegram of when you have one foot in both worlds, you never are fully in either. You've got a bit over here and a bit over here. And you know, that's everyone's prerogative of what they want to do. But for me, the catalysts have always been when I have gone fully in with intention of making it freaking work, no matter what. I will do literally whatever the fuck it takes to make it happen. I will show up every single day. I will cry on camera. I will share my challenges. I will share my failures. I will share my story because I am so determined in my intention of making my success my reality, of making my dreams my reality. So what is your intention with whatever it is? Starting a new Instagram account, starting a new business, creating a new course. Why? Why? Why does it matter? Why is it so important? Because if it's not, then that's not a big enough pull to pull you through the hard days, to pull you through those dark hours. It has to be strong. Which leads right to vulnerability. So a lot of you will probably have seen, I am very vulnerable in my socials and in real life, right? On here, I'm very vulnerable with what I share. My heart is on my sleeve always, because for me, true leadership, as I said earlier, is about sharing the whole journey, not just the good, not just the rose-tinted glasses. And I feel that it's very much a disservice when we don't share that vulnerability, when we don't show that we are humans, when we don't share the hard struggles that we are going through. And the thing is it actually helps your audience connect with you more, right? So many people are scared of this because they feel that it's going to diminish their authority. It's going to, you know, make a dent on their leadership, on how people see them. They need to have this, you know, kind of big, strong, like, I'm in the power, right? I'm in the power. But there is power in vulnerability because not many people will do it. That right there alone is the power. Because if you do something that not many other people will do, that shows that you have something that they haven't. You have got such a sense of inner self-power that you know nothing can dent that, nothing can knock that, nothing is going to change that, because it's in you. It's already within you. So when you allow yourself to share that, and I would love to know in the chat if anyone is around typing, how do you feel about showing up vulnerably? Do you do it? Does it scare you? Do you feel that you're going to be judged for it? Do you feel that it's going to affect the authority that you want to build? If you don't, do you feel that it's weak? I would love to have a quick look in the chat if anyone wants to pop anything in. I love it. I don't want to pretend to be something I'm not. Exactly. I do sometimes still a bit nervous. Yeah. Could do more. Amazing. So what I would say on this, I'm cool with vulnerability and crying. I love that, Paula. I love that. What I would say about this is it's about being on the story and not in it. Okay. It's talking people through the lesson and not being the victim in it. I feel it's something people love most about me. Yes, I love that. And it will be. It absolutely will be, because it enables people to connect with you on that human level. It builds that connection, that deeper connection. Share from my scars and not my wounds. Yes, I love that so much. Amazing. I love it. I love it. Okay. And now we go to the other end of the scale, right? There's a few more to get through. So from vulnerability to your too much energy. Obviously one of my favorites. Now, what I want to say with this is you do not have to be like me, right? Like, I don't mean that you have to be like that's my too much energy, right? But your too much energy is unique to you. And it might be soft, it might be gentle, it might be vulnerable, it might be sensual, you know, it could be whatever it is to you. But when I say you're too much energy, what I mean is that edge, right? Like we spoke about yesterday, it's that limit of when you feel like this is too much. Like, this is too much. I'm not sure I should go this far. I should rein it in a bit. And that can be in any kind of extreme, right? But when you hit that edge and you're just like, oh, and I'll tell you, the first time I bought that red bra that I wear in quite a lot of my videos and stuff, that was an edge for me. Because it was something that I had wanted to do for a while, and I just didn't have the courage. I was like, oh, I'm not sure, like, there's going to be so many comments about that, and people are going to think, like, I don't know, all sorts, right? And so I spoke about Claire to a friend, and she took the courage to be vulnerable in a professional life. She posted this on LinkedIn. Oh, I love that. So when I bought it and I tried it on in the shop, and I was like, can I do this? And I just got home and I just recorded a video, right? I don't give myself a chance to back out. I just do it. Because if you give yourself time to talk yourself out of it, you will when you're at that edge. So whatever that edge looks like to you, lean into it. Because as soon as you do something like that, something like brave and badass, whatever that looks like to you, I have to say, so that could be talking about something that you feel is a little bit taboo, right? Maybe you're in the spiritual world and you start talking about religion, or maybe you're in, I don't know, a relationship world and you start talking about sex. Maybe you're in the coaching world, you start talking about money, like anything that feels taboo to you, or anything that you feel like, I really want to do that, but I'm just not sure. This is the too much energy. Because when you tap into that, it unleashes something within you. It's like a whole reclamation of power again. And I tell you now, when I first did that dance, whatever, I don't even know what I did in that bra, and I was just like, I had like a whole identity shift in that moment. It was like, she's arrived. That's what it felt like. It's like I've arrived. That's the feeling. And when you push yourself to those limits, you will get that feeling. And every time you do it, you're growing, you're expanding, you're getting to another level. So embrace that too muchness, whatever that looks like to you, because it is an absolute superpower. It is probably the biggest transformation for me, because it just unlocked something that I had never been able to show before. I'd never been able to be that confident before, that much in my power before, that I just did what I wanted to do and I just didn't give a fuck because this was what I wanted to do. Again, we go back to the pleasure, right? That was what I wanted to do. And it was only my fear of the judgment and the perceptions and the shame and all of this that was stopping me. If there was no one around, I would have done it. So why don't I do it? So that, if you can do that alone, regardless of anything else, you will unlock another level of your own personal power. I absolutely promise you. It's freaking fire. I love that one. Okay, we've got 3 more to get through. Right, next one is future embodiment. This one's really cool. This one's really cool to play with. So it's showing up as the future version of us, right? So not showing up as who we are now, showing up as the future version of us. So this is why we always need to be really clear about where we're going, right? The intention, the North Star, the vision, what is the big picture? Why are we doing this? We need to know all of this stuff in order to kind of make this work, right? Like if you don't know that, you need to get clear on that, because that just means you're kind of rolling around in the dark, not really knowing what you're doing. So make sure you get really clear on that before you start kind of thinking about this stuff. But future embodiment is about drilling down into who that version of you looks like. How does she show up? What does she talk like? What are her thoughts? How does she talk? How does she dress? Who does she associate with? What are her values? What are her messages? What are her lessons? Future embodiment is just so freaking powerful, because you are bringing an energy of someone that you have not yet fully stepped into. So you are bringing an energy that is in the future. And when you can ground that into the present, oh, it is just like radiating. Because again, you've unlocked new codes within yourself that you didn't have before, because the future version of you has them, not you presently. And so when you step into her, you're able to access some of them, and you're able to integrate some of them and implement some of them. And that means that you're closing the gap, that you are becoming. And the more you do that, the smaller the gap gets. So future embodiment is fun as well, right? Fun. It's super fun. Now, I will say, as a caveat, always in integrity, right? So this is not about faking it till you make it. This is not about claiming things that you haven't got or done, right? So this, I'll give you an example. This is my millionaire movement. Okay, that is future embodiment for me. I'm not a millionaire on paper. I'm not a millionaire, right? Multi 6 figures is where I've been, what I've made so far. I have outright claimed that this will be my 7-figure year. That right there is future embodiment, okay? Because I am claiming that this will be my 7-figure year. And I'm not saying I've already made 7 figures. I'm saying I am claiming it. And what I'm going to do every single day is show up as the version of myself that already has those 7 figures. From the way I dress, to the way I talk, to the confidence that I bring, to the presence that I hold in a room. Today was massively enlightening for me in this real life event. The way that everyone remembered me and gravitated towards me. it was a surreal moment. And in that moment, I knew that I had tapped into those future embodiment codes of her confidence. It had cranked up another notch. I had gone there as her, and it just radiated. So future embodiment is so, so powerful. And as you step into it, you will start to take actions as her and show up as her and think like her and talk like her and walk like her and all the rest of it. I would say with that, bring it into your real life as well. Okay. You can't, with future embodiment, you cannot just be online or just offline. You have to be it everywhere. This is what I said yesterday. Like sometimes I'll go to school, like in my like reds and stuff, because that, like, she doesn't give a fuck. Like if I've just been on a speaking event or whatever, like, I'm not getting changed just to go and do the school run. I'm just going there, right? So start thinking like her now. Okay. Two more. Right, next one is sensuality. I really love this one. Sensuality / flirting, right? So my content, I have a few different kind of ways that I come at it, right? So I can obviously be in your face, and I can be bold, and I can be polarizing, and I can trigger people. But I can also be like fun and flirty and sensual and that kind of female like sensuality energy, right? This is really powerful. This is really powerful because it just oozes that magnetism of sex appeal. And I don't mean how you look, I mean just in what you're creating, right? You can be sensual and flirting in a graphic that doesn't even have you in it. It's about the language that you're using. It's about the play-ons. Just think of it as like flirting with someone. And in real life, flirt with as many freaking people as possible. Your girlfriends, your boyfriends, anyone that you get around. Like today when I was at this event, I was just like so flirty and like touching people and just like having fun. Because it's just magnetizing. Everyone wants to be wanted, right? Everyone wants to be wanted. So when you start playing like that, it gets people riled up. They're like, oh, okay. So that's a really fun energy to play in. Okay, and the last one is, okay, I've worded this funny. It's going from being got, from getting to being gotten, right? So what I mean by this is attracting instead of chasing, essentially. Okay, so instead of creating everything from an energy of, are people going to like this? Who's going to want to work with me from this? Is anyone going to message from me from this? Am I going to get any sales from this? Start coming at it from the energy of, oh my God, I am going to be the person that someone is actively manifesting right now. I am going to create whatever it is, like this masterpiece, and be the answer to someone's prayers, because I am just giving so much of myself into this that they are not going to know what the fuck hit them. They are going to feel like Jesus literally came down from heaven and was like, here you go. Like, so instead of chasing and being in that energy of like, oh my God, is anyone going to like this? Start being like, what lucky people are going to actually get me. Because they are going to be freaking blown away. They are going to be blown away when they get into my space. This is not ego. This is just knowing what you bring to the table. And if you don't believe that in yourself, that when someone gets into your energy, that they will be blown away, then you need to work on your self-belief. Because why would anyone pay you if that's not the experience they're going to get? I think deep down, you all know that, but you're just embarrassed to admit it because you feel that other people are going to think that you're full of yourself. And some people might think that, but who gives a fuck? Because you know that it is the truth. And your clients want to know that that is the truth before they hand over money for it. So instead of being in that energy of chasing, start realizing how lucky the people will be to find you. And start showing up like that in whatever you create, online, offline. How amazing would it be if you actually came into my world? And it might feel icky at first, but the more that you embody it and you play in it, you'll start to feel confident in it. You'll start to believe it. And you'll start to realize that actually, yeah, you've got a lot to give. And anyone that gets the opportunity to work with you is going to thank their lucky stars. And that's it. So that is all of the codes that I found. Anyway, I'm sure there will probably be more that come to light. But those are like the main things that I was able to pluck out, right? Looking back and joining all the dots. So I would absolutely love you all to play around with those, to start thinking about maybe where you're lacking a bit, where you need to integrate a bit. You've probably got some of them already, right? I mean, all of them are within you, but it's just whether you use them or not, whether you tap into them or not at the moment. So think about how you are utilizing those codes in real life and online at the moment, and then how you can start to tap into them even more, to ramp them up even more, so that you can bring all of you to the table. Because remember, it's the same online as offline. If you go into an event and you sound the same as everyone else, and you talk the same as everyone else, and you look the same as everyone else, no one is going to remember what you do. In fact, it's even worse online because there are so many more people. So if you want people to stay on your page long enough to realize how freaking amazing you are, you have got to bring all of you to the party, so that when they see you, they stay. And they don't just stay, they keep coming back. They keep dipping into your page. Oh, what she posted recently? Oh, they might not like it, they might not follow you, but they'll be there. They'll be watching. But not if you're hiding. Not if you're still playing on the sidelines. Not if you are still swimming in the sea where everyone else is. Out of the sea, into the pool. I'm probably the other way around, actually. But, but stop playing where everyone else is playing. You have to be noticed. And that can be uncomfy, because that's not always a good noticed. But you have to be noticed if you want to create something big. And there it is. My voice just about lasted. Oh, I'm so glad you all loved it. Oh, the chat was popping. I didn't want to read it because I didn't want to confuse myself. But I will read it after. Thank you everyone for joining. Get in the Telegram. Let me know your biggest ahas, your biggest takeaways, your biggest light bulb moments. And I will see you all for the final day free tomorrow. Okay, night everyone. Well, day, night. Night everyone.